He stepped up in a Dracula cape, eyes burning through the crowd, and hit doubles like a machine. Ted Hankey didn't just throw darts, he played the villain. But when the wind stopped, the mask cracked, the boos got louder, and what started as a persona spiraled into something darker. This is the story of a man who tried to control the game until it controlled him. Today, we dig into the drama, the rise and the legacy of dart's most unpredictable showman, Ted Hankey, and the scandal that ended it all. Before the cape and the headlines, Ted Hankey was just another player at the oche, focused, steady, and surprisingly quiet. At the 2000 BDO World Championship at Lakeside, he played some of the best darts of his career. No drama, no distractions, just clean, consistent throwing. He hit 22, maximum 180 throughout the tournament, setting a new record at the time. In the final, he faced Ronnie Baxter and didn't drop a single set. Hankey averaged over 97 and sealed the win with a 170 checkout, the highest possible finish in darts. It was a 6-0 sweep, and with it, his first world title. There was nothing theatrical about that performance. His throw was smooth, his pace deliberate. At that moment, he wasn't a villain or a showman. He was simply a player at the top of his game. But that quiet control wouldn't define his career. What came next would be louder and far more complicated. 2000s, Ted Hankey had stopped playing darts. He was playing a role. His matches felt like theater. He'd wait behind the curtain, then walk out slowly, head high, cape flowing, like a villain stepping into the ring. There were no waves to the crowd, no smiles, stillness, and control. He fully committed to the character. Even after big checkouts, he showed no emotion, no fist pumps, no nods, only stillness. While other players fed off the crowd's energy, Hankey stood still, like he already knew how the story would end. His press conferences kept that image alive. He spoke slowly, corrected reporters, and claimed darts had lost its soul to show-offs, all while dressed like a gothic executioner. When asked about a rival, he simply said, "Doesn't matter, they all fall the same." At first, people were hooked, but over time, something colder came through. The tension he created didn't feel like a show anymore. It started to feel real. The crowd's interest turned to unease. What once added drama now felt like a warning. Hankey wasn't creating a character. He was starting to show something darker underneath. The cape might have been part of the show, but the anger was always real. By 2007, the warning signs were no longer hidden. At the International Darts League, cameras caught Hankey muttering insults under his breath after missed shots. Not aimed at himself, but at the crowd. It was quiet, on purpose, and uncomfortable to watch. The tension that once added energy to the room was starting to turn sour. In 2008, it all came out. During a World Championship semi-final against Simon Whitlock, Hankey stopped in the middle of a leg and shouted at the crowd, "Shut up!" He still hit the double, but turned again, shouting louder, eyes wild. The moment spread quickly. This wasn't frustration. It was a crack in the mask. And it didn't stop there. At a UK Open qualifier, he accused another player of fake coughing to distract him. In another match, he demanded the lights be changed, saying they were too bright. After that, it was the carpet, too thick. Then it was his darts, bent. After one loss, he kicked over a sponsor's banner and walked straight off stage without saying a word. The excuses added up, so did the outbursts. He slammed darts onto tables, skipped handshakes, left matches halfway through. The calm, focused player from Lakeside in 2000 was gone. In his place was a man who seemed angry at everything. Even when he won, the cheers were muted. The feeling in the room had shifted. Hankey was no longer in control, and the crowd was slipping away. Nearly 10 years after his first world title, Ted Hankey was back at the top. In 2009, he won the BDO World Championship for the second time, beating Tony Oche in a tense 7-6 final. It was a close and tough match, and for a moment, the drama gave way to pure skill. The crowd roared, the cape returned, and for a brief moment, it felt like redemption. But the comeback didn't last. Hankey hit a plateau. The sport moved on. Younger, fitter, more focused players were taking over. Players who saw darts as a profession, not a performance. Hankey didn't adjust. He criticized the changes, calling the new era boring and saying the game had lost its soul. In 2012, he made a big move by joining the PDC, the faster, more competitive side of the sport. Some hoped the structure would help him focus, but instead, it showed how much he was struggling. At the Grand Slam, he barely averaged above 60. One of the worst performances of his career on TV. The crowd didn't boo, they just stared, quietly stunned. Then the truth came out. Hankey had suffered a mild stroke shortly before the event. His vision was affected, his focus was shaky. He was also managing diabetes, which drained his energy and made it harder to concentrate. He kept entering smaller events, but the spark was gone. The rhythm was gone. The sharp edge that once made him a champion had faded. What was left was frustration. The fight was still there, but the fire that once drove him had burned out. For years, Ted Hankey was a complicated figure in darts, talented, erratic, often polarizing. Fans remembered the slow throws, the cape, the icy stare. But behind the onstage theatrics was a man who could never quite stay out of trouble. Then in 2022, everything changed. Not because of a meltdown during a match or a complaint about the lights, but because of something far more serious. The news broke. Hankey had been charged with sexually assaulting a teenage girl in Crewe. The incident, caught on CCTV, left no room for doubt. Initially, Hankey denied it, but once the footage was presented, he stopped cooperating with police. In court, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of sexual assault. Judge Stephen Everett called it a disgraceful act, adding that Hankey would have lied about it if not for the video. The victim, a young woman, described the emotional damage, panic attacks, fear of going out, and a deep sense of betrayal. Hankey was sentenced to 2 years in prison and placed on the sex offenders register for a decade. His personal life unraveled. His wife filed for divorce, his children cut ties. Professionally, the reaction was swift. Sponsors dropped him. Tournaments disassociated. The darts community, once divided on his antics, fell silent. No one defended him. No one called it a misunderstanding. It wasn't a fall from grace, it was a collapse. His legacy, once built on precision and presence, was erased almost overnight. There was no comeback on the horizon. Only a name that once echoed through Lakeside, now spoken in shame. Ted Hankey's name is part of darts history. A 2-time world champion, once seen as one of the most naturally talented players to ever step on stage. He had the stats, the finishes, the records. But a legacy is not about trophies. It's about what people remember. And when it comes to Ted Hankey, the memories are mixed. Some people remember the cape, the icy stare, the smooth throw that, at his best, looked unbeatable. Others remember the outbursts, the tension, and how any match could fall apart without warning. And now, for many, all of that is overshadowed by one thing: the crime that ended his career and erased any hope of a comeback. There are still a few who say he was misunderstood, that the pressure got to him, that his talent came with personal struggles, but even that's hard to defend after what happened off the stage. Because respect isn't earned back with numbers, it comes back with character, and Hankey stopped showing that a long time ago. In the end, no one forced him out. The sport simply moved on. The cheers faded, the invites stopped coming, the quiet grew heavier. He wasn't a champion caught in a bad moment, he became a warning, a reminder that talent can win trophies, but it's character that builds a legacy. Without it, even greatness disappears. He came in like a villain, he left with nothing. The cape, the silence, the fire, it made him unforgettable, but it also consumed everything he built. Was Ted Hankey a misunderstood genius, or was the darkness always part of the throw? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more stories from the edge of sport, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and we'll see you in the next one.